All right. Don't worry, everybody. I am here. And it may be dark, but not for long. Just stick around. Trying to what are we doing? Sharing stuff. Sharing the link. There's some light. There's a little bit of shedding some light on the subject. Don't worry, I will get to all of your comments here soon. And a little bit of a different format if you hadn't noticed. You know what you think. I will get to everybody in just a moment. Give me just a second. There's the one I'm looking for. Hold up. Wait. All right, that's good. If you don't mind, share the link around. And yeah. All right, so here we go. So hello, Ramblin' Rattlesnake. Hello, John Watkins. Hello, Isaiah, Zach, Patrick Walsh, Delby, Heathen Research. What is tonight's topic? Well, the hint is in the title of the live stream. But I am actually just here chilling and figured I would chill with all of you. Please, if you guys haven't yet, which if you are here, you probably already have, but if you have not yet, make sure you are subscribed to Midgard Musings. What's up there, Sethaniel? Please make sure you have subscribed, share this video around. Let's bring in some people. Let's bring in some people because the topic of tonight's live stream that we're gonna want to go into is the title of the live stream is Walpurgisnacht live stream. It's okay. Patrick says won't be here long, but wanted to give my love and support. Nonetheless, thank you for everything, Patrick, and happy belated birthday. Everybody in the live stream right now, please wish Patrick Walsh a happy birthday. He just made it another revolution around the sun. Another trip around the sun for Patrick. So happy birthday, Patrick. Could you explain the holiday? As a matter of fact, I can, Isaiah, and that is what we will all be getting into here momentarily. I need to pour myself a little bit of the old good, if you know what I'm saying. This is it's McClellan. It's a Highland single malt. It was actually a gift from my wonderful wife for our 4-year wedding anniversary, which we just celebrated back on the 21st. It's a Highland, so it's got some kind of caramel and floral notes a bit. So let's go ahead and pour some of that on a Friday night, on a Fredagsdag, right? Oh, there's the bear. What's up, Godfrey Bear? Hail and welcome. Thought you'd share some sentiment. Happy holidays. Joyous and fulfilling birthday. Cool. Hey, what's up there, Alex? Thank you for joining. So yeah, 13 live viewers. I got 2 likes on this video. If you are watching this video right now and you haven't liked the video, please do me a favor if you don't mind and smash that like button. if I had a sound effects machine, I would go, you know, smash that like button. Let's get those likes close to or equal to the live views. Got 3 likes now, 14 watching. Let's pump it up. Pump up the jam. Pump it up. Turn the light on a little bit on the situation. Know what I'm saying? Tell you what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to bring you guys. No, I don't like that one. I think I might move you. I want to do, yeah. I think I'll bring it back over here where you belong. I like that one a little bit better. I'm just going to switch back and forth between 2. Yeah, thanks. Skyly Sullivan, Maria Fury from New Zealand in the house. Dad and cool. Thank you all. So welcome. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody. All over Midgard. It's going to go back and forth a little bit. I hope you guys and gals out there don't mind the ambiance for Walpurgisnacht. So you guys are about to get a little educated. Fair warning. This is school time tonight, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like me sitting here going, put your pencils down. The test is, you've got 30 minutes to complete the test, pencils up, pencils down. Jimmy, stop playing with Sarah's hair back there. I see you. None of that. But you guys are going to probably walk away from this, or at least I hope you are, a little bit more educated about things. You find the button eventually. Godfrey Bear, well, that's what matters. If you don't find it right away, as long as you get there, as long as you find it. So if you guys didn't notice the audio, I hope the audio is okay, by the way. You guys can hear me all right? This is a new setup. Also a gift from my wife. Odin's Beard Woodworking. Woo-hoo! Matt Petrie in the house. What's up, dude? What up, though? Appreciate you guys and gals tuning in here. 7 likes, 13 live viewers. Come on, I know you're out there. You may not be commenting, but I know you're out there. Smash that like button. Share the video around. Let's bring in some people. Talk a bit about Walpurgisnacht. I think for a lot of folks, maybe not just, that scratch was good. Took my breath away there for just a second. Working great. Thanks, Maria. Yeah, it took my breath away for just a second, just because it was, hits me right in the heart of hearts. Thank you, Matt. Says sounds good. What's up, Lex? Happy holidays. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. For a lot of folks, I believe tomorrow, which for us here in the States is May 1st. So like, for instance, Maria, you're in New Zealand, so it's already May 1st. But Beltane, Walpurgisnacht, these are commonly referred to holidays among the pagan circles, among various pagan circles. But I do want to talk a bit about the origins of Walpurgisnights, or Walpurgisnacht, right? And why does it get mentioned or I guess celebrated amongst pagans, heathens, even to this day, Germanic pagans especially? It perplexes me. It strikes a nerve. And again, I apologize because I'm flipping back and forth between the views of things, so the lighting is going to dip a little bit in and out. I thought of maybe putting, let me see if this will work. I don't like that because then I got to go over here and you guys aren't going to be able to hear me. No, we'll just deal with the old back and forth. So anyway, Walpurgisnacht. You wish you didn't have to open the store tomorrow? Well, that's all right, Patrick. This will be up here, you know. You can always hop back in and check it out. But for those that are sticking around, Hail, who said it was this? The Heathen Coalition says Hail Wotan, which is another kenning or name for Odin, right? Got 15 live viewers here in the live stream, 8 likes on the video, guys. Smash that like button. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get into this discussion about Walpurgisnacht. I know Isaiah and a couple others that tuned in earlier are like, yeah, what gives? What's about this? So why do so many people celebrate, or why do so many pagans, heathens, celebrate a day named after a saint who persecuted heathenry? So I am actually going to be putting the information for all of you to follow up yourself, where I'm reading from, the source where I'm reading from in the live stream. But it's a blog from the Al Sidhu website, alsidhu.com. And it was just up. It was actually this article was uploaded a year ago today. So last year at this time, this article was shared and uploaded. It's up there, Thunder Horse. Hail and good evening. I am going to, like I said, be bouncing back and forth. So the lighting is going to be a little bit mysterious. You're going to see more shadows than you might care for. So I can acknowledge my live participants. This is one of your grandpa didn't even know about it till a few years ago. Yeah, Matt. So here's what's up, guys. Here's the background. Richard the Pilgrim, also known as Saint Richard of Wessex. This fella married a gal who was called Wina. She was the sister of Saint Boniface, the very Saint Boniface who cut down Thor's oak. About 30 miles south of the Saxon Irminsul, on the border of Saxony and Hesse. So Richard's first miracle, as it were, was saving the life of his 3-year-old son, Willibald, also a future saint of Bavaria. Richard erected a great crucifix in public, laid his son Willibald at the base of the crucifix, and prayed, healing his son. His fame spread around 710 AD. 710 AD is when Winnie and Richard fathered Weldberg, which is the old Latin or Old English name, rather. The Latin name is Walpurga. So Weldberg is the Old English version of Walpurga. Walpurga would destroy Saxon sacred groves later on. Preached the destruction of the Irminsul, of the Saxons, which actually ended up happening, right? This did come to pass. And then her father, Richard's life mission was the same as Saint Boniface's life mission, which was to convert all heathen Germanic tribes forcefully if need be. And it became the mission or the life mission of, Walpurga and Willibald, who followed Boniface's example of destroying Germanic heathen holy places and building churches in their place. So I dim the lights to say, if you are a heathen, a pagan, celebrating Walpurgisnacht, you kind of need your teeth kicked in, or at least your kneecaps busted, or your ankles bitten, or something, because it's not a pagan holiday. It's not a pagan holy day at all. Good evening, Frisian. Great website and group, Maria Fury. Okay, so Maria is familiar. Yeah, made you cry, Alex. Maria Fury, thank you so much for the super chat donation, Maria. While we're streaming here live, very kind and very generous of you ma'am. So thank you very much. So yeah, this whole Walpurgisnacht business, this whole Walpurgisnight thing is downright terrible. You guys ever watch Family Guy? Remember Cleveland? Oh, that's terrible. That's just terrible. Okay. This whole Walpurgisnacht business is it's just terrible. So Walpurga was entrusted with the Abbey of Wimbum when her father and brother, Richard and Willibald, did a missionary trip. She was 11 years old at the time. Walpurga would be educated there as well for a couple decades, almost 30 years, 26 years to be precise. And at the age of 37, I'll be 37 this year, Walpurga went on her permanent mission trip into Francia and Saxony. She traveled with her brothers Willibald and Winibald. Willibald and Winibald, pretty original, to assist Saint Boniface in the evangelization. Say that 3 times fast. In the evangelization efforts, and of course, as monks and nuns, so they were missionaries. They all stood for the same destruction of the Germanic heathen customs and stuff at the time. So Walpurga would become the first female author in England and Germany. She wrote the Vita of Saint Willibald and Vita of Winibald, her brother, who was not anointed with sainthood. Apparently, he should have destroyed more church, more heathen groves and more sacred lands and stuff to be. He didn't level up with the church. Apparently, he didn't level up enough to get that sainthood. So the rest of the article goes on and more about the historical stuff. And here's an interesting thing, right? The author of the Al Sadu site, you guys, I'll post a link in the live chat here when we get done, or not when we get done with like the live stream, but like when I get done reading it, I'll post the link there. This author has been constantly harassed and has had like death threats issued against them, arguments against many Ossator, that Walpurgisnacht, quote, has to be on a date of a prior Saxon or Germanic tribes' heathen holidays, as it is so popular today. So they're saying basically that, well, because it's popular today, it had to have happened. It had to have been a thing popular at one point. Like it had to have existed or something because it's so popular today. And there's absolutely nothing there to substantiate that claim. Okay. This goes back to how holy tides were observed, where we're solar lunar based and all this kind of stuff. The Germanic tribes at the time observed holy tides around the lunar cycles. We see this in the word moon and month. A month in the Germanic heathens' view, or a month, was literally a cycle of the moon. So where did Walpurgisnacht begin, and when did it begin, and why? Okay. So the origins of Saint Walpurgisnacht began with the fame of Walpurga, right? The missionary whose life mission it was to destroy Germanic heathen customs and sacred groves and things like that. The 2 earliest miracle narratives of Walpurga are the Miracula S. Walpurgae Manhasmene of, well, I don't know, whatever. Dates back to like 895 or 896 AD, late 10th century Vita. Her fame was considerable in her lifetime there and thereafter. The first event to bring about the Walpurgisnacht as a holiday was on May 1st in the year 870 AD. So the relics of Walpurga were transferred to Eichstätt, Germany. And there is where Walpurga's Abbey was built, house these ancient relics. And Walpurga's bones were placed in a rock tomb behind the altar where mass was done, which was allegedly where it was where this whole it began to exude a miraculously therapeutic oil through pilgrims to her shrine for centuries, and still does to this day. I will say that. Let me just acknowledge the chat here for a bit. Patrick says, damn, I hope I don't dishonor the gods. Well, your intent is not to dishonor them, so no, of course not. OBW turns 5 tomorrow. Woohoo! Awesome. Isaiah said, could you do a video on Jarl Harkon Sigurdsson? Sure. Why not? I love taking requests and ideas. Not too familiar with the day, celebrating the gods for his day, the only reason doing anything. Well, Patrick, that's your intent is, like I said, your intent is everything. Fact is, we have to start checking sources and yeah, right, Maria, you're exactly right. So thank you, everybody. So again, going back to it, the first event to bring about this Walpurgisnacht as a holiday was on May 1st in the year 870 AD. And even to this day, this site in Eichstätt, Germany, is visited by religious pilgrims and stuff to experience this sort of miraculous thing. So the second event to bring about Walpurgisnacht as a holiday was around, or in rather, the 11th century. Okay, so Anno II, who was Archbishop of Cologne, declared a Walpurgisnacht to be celebrated on the eve of May Day, which is tonight, April 30th at sundown. The site lists some sources about this whole thing. Now, it's one thing to note, that the Archbishop Anno II himself was canonized in the year 1183 by Pope Lucius III. He was a founder or co-founder of monasteries in a lot of different places, builder of churches, advocated clerical celibacy. Clerical celibacy? Doesn't that sound awful? Introduced a strict discipline in the number of monasteries. He was a man of great energy and ability whose action in recognizing Alexander II was of the utmost consequence. This guy has a lot of had a lot of might and main, as we say. Now, what was the first event that brought about this Walpurgisnacht or Walpurgisnacht holiday amongst the modern movement of Northern European spirituality and religion? Okay, this might blow your mind. You might want to sit down for this. You might want to look at that. It's like I'm holding nothing. You might want to take a sip of something on this one. In the 1960s, an American witch and poet named Aidan Kelly went looking for Sabbath names more interesting than winter solstice, spring solstice, equinox, summer solstice, and the autumn equinox. He ended up adopting Ostara for the vernal equinox, Yule for the winter solstice, Mabon, which is a Celtic holiday, for the autumnal equinox. Okay. Wicca, of course, is a modern word based on the Old English word for witch. So that's where you get this Wiccan thing. It's an old it comes from an Old English word. And you also got to bear in mind that this fella in the 60s, right, didn't care that these things that, the winter solstice, didn't care that Yule was not historically on the winter solstice, didn't care about that. Didn't even care that Germanic heathens didn't hold holidays on the equinox cycles. It was, again, lunar based, not solstice or solar based. What he did care enough about was, though, that Beltane was to be used instead of Walpurgisnacht. And this is because Walpurgis is famous for spending her life fighting against witchcraft and heathenry and you know, heathen magic and all that kind of stuff. So we got some scholars' takes right here. We got number one, the Catholic Church chose May Eve to honor Saint Walpurga, protectress against magic arts. Walpurga was an English missionary to Germany in the 8th century. And number two is that Walpurgis Night falls on the eve of the feast day of Saint Walpurga. So that's the first line of where this became a thing amongst Ossetror. Again, in the 60s, 70s in the United States and America, Germanic heathenry. First of all, Ossetry came out of the prison system. That might be another discussion, but how we call it today, I use the term Ossetry so loosely, to kind of use like as an umbrella term for Germanic heathenry, but it's such a broad umbrella term. It sometimes gets lumped into so much. Hey, I'm just going to acknowledge the chat again. Bert Harbin, you actually read the lives of the saints instead of the Wikipedia article. This is not a Wikipedia article, by the way. Catholic Church acknowledges that Saint Walpurga. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I think we're covering that, but thank you for calling that out, Burke. I've got a bunch of sources I'm going to share it. So anyway, the second event to bring about Walpurgisnacht as a holiday in Ossetry. Ossetry movements and Thadish belief movements were focused, were founded in the United States in the early 70s. Founders were usually ex-Wiccan, or at least influenced by Wicca, right? They came from this whole Wicca background, neo-pagan type stuff. The Wiccan Wheel of the Year, you see it still incorporated into a lot of modern Ossetry groups, organizations that don't follow a historical base. Again, nothing against it. If that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you like, and that's what works for you, and if you find it works into your traditions and that sort of thing, that's fine. It's not old ways heathenry. It's not old to do. It's not foreign faith. It's not historical stuff. That's again not if it's not your hall, it's not your call. So do you the way you want to do it. But the truth of the matter is that Ossetry comes out of Wicca. A lot of Wicca ex-Wicca folks. That's the best way I know to put it. So it kind of became this like Ossetry orthodoxy, as it were, for most American Ossetry. Plenty of people listening, watching right now are not in America. Maria, I know for one, is in New Zealand. But Ossetry, whatever you want to call it now, it's the organizations today. A lot of these bigger national orgs still observe or celebrate Beltane, which is a Celtic holiday. It's a Celtic celebration, and or Walpurgisnacht simultaneously or around the same. I know people in our area that have a Beltane event tomorrow. I think it's actually a public event. It's not a tribal event. It's open to the public sort of thing. So it's nice to have something to bring the community together and get to know the people around and in your community. But it is exactly that. It's not a Germanic holiday. It has no Germanic heathen origins. If anything, it's everything against Germanic heathenry. Walpurgisnacht, I mean, so anyways, if any of you want to continue reading more about this, there are some Walpurgisnacht events that take place around the world. There's things that happen in the Czech Republic, in Finland, Sweden, Bavaria, but it ain't heathen. So anyway, let me just share with you guys the link. 17 live viewers, 9 likes. You guys appreciate it. Love you all. Thank you so much. Smash the like button. Get them likes up. We got 17 live viewers, only 9 likes. I mean, if that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. Sometimes it be that way. That's the way it be sometimes. But anyways, I just posted the link for all you in the live chat. Drink some water. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to drink your water. Stay hydrated. You know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? So, Walpurgisnacht definitely does have Germanic and heathen origins. It's not a heathen holiday, though. It's not. It's anything but heathen. It's anti-heathen. It's Walpurga persecuted and violent and spent a life mission to destroy heathenry in Germanic cultures. You know what I'm saying? So Germanic origins, maybe because of the region, because of the area, not a heathen holiday. Never has been. But hey, don't take my word for it. It just that's what it is or isn't. Low grizzle, what's water? I don't know. Good stuff, man. You should try it. So yeah, I found it very enlightening. I found it very enlightening for folks out here that want to yeah, the whole witches night thing, whatever. Do what you want to do. Like I said, if that's what you want to do it. If you want to celebrate in some sort of way, if it means something to you and yours, if it has meaning, don't let me or anybody else stop you, right, from doing it. That's not the point of this. That's not the purpose of tonight's live stream. The goal or whatever was to just educate a little bit. Like if you didn't know about this, now you do. And there's your link in the live chat for that information. So, yeah, let me leave that there and let me move this here. Move that there. Is water wet? Last I checked, Isaiah. Yeah, last I checked, it is. The Catholic Church says that her cult was adopted from the Earth Mother Walburga, not a Germanic holiday. Walburga. Where's that? What? I mean, hey, do I know? I'm still learning a lot every day, you know. So if you got sources, you got something that I'll definitely be looking into it. I'm sharing sources that I picked up from or that I got, and you know, if there's more out there to learn from, I'm always up for learning. You know, started out strict recon, moved into total woo. You know, funny enough, I started off a bit on the woo-woo side and am starting to gravitate a bit more towards, you know, the historical side of things. I'm still kind of in the middle of the road where a lot of what our my hair is fabulous though. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. The where's I going with that? It threw me off. Your hair is fabulous though. See it's all it takes. No, but I'm not like 100% hardcore reconstructionist historical heathen. I do definitely lean heavily on the historical side of things. It fits for my tribe's approach to our holy ties, but even our rituals and even our things are not like so rooted in reconstructionism that there's a lot of leniency. There's a lot of expression of other things too that get included in that. So you all are awesome. Appreciate you, Patrick. Appreciate all of you, by the way. 20 live viewers, 10 likes on the video. For just a randomly non-planned live stream. What do you guys think of all this too, by the way? I mean, I think this is pretty cool. We got like a fire going in the background. You can almost smell the smoke. You can almost smell the smoke. Makes me want to get into some you know, some ritual drumming or something over here, man. Wish I had a drum, you know. Yeah. Some of that throat singing going on. Some high lung, you know what I'm talking about? Patrick, talking to you, buddy. So yeah. Um, Another cool thing that I'm waiting for YouTube to get back to me on something, but I've got this really cool option here on the channel. Going to have memberships available. You can become like a member, whatever, of Midgard Musings. Um, Help supports the channel, and you get some really awesome perks, right? Everybody loves the perks, right? Little percolate. You thought I was going to say something else, but I wasn't. I'm talking about that kind of perk. I was talking about percolate, you know, like the coffee, percolate. Then an R&B song too, or something, I think, right? Skyly Sullivan, fire. Appreciate that. Um, Volleyball or Walpurga would also mean Mountain of the Slain. Both of the witches gathered on the Brocken tonight. Ah, okay. Well, the Heathen Coalition offering some words of wisdom down here in the chat. Definitely going to be revisiting those bits of information along with what Burke Harbin has shared. So that's the cool thing about talking and engaging the community in these sorts of things, you know. So much can be shared and so much insight can be offered by so many, you know. Chant all the names of Odin. You can put the high lung back in the bottle. You can't put the high lung back in the bottle. Man, that's a great song. If I wouldn't get demonetized, I'd play it for all of us. Where they go and they start chanting all the names. They start like Galdering all the names of Odin. There is power in that, Lou, too, let me tell you. As somebody who has incorporated Galder in ritual, and as somebody who just celebrated our Sigurblot, which was really focused. The main focus was to Odin. A lot of magic, a lot of ecstasy. Not like not the drug, but I mean like ecstatic states of mind. It was a very, very powerful ritual night. You guys ever have you guys ever experienced something so spiritually profound, right? Whether it be a ritual or whether it be, any sort of other spiritual set, anything like that. You ever experience something so profound and so heavy that the next day or the next days thereafter kind of leave you in this like mental fog? And it's not like I try to compare it to almost like if you were to have a hangover, but it's not, you're not like, you're not physically sore or whatever, and you're not like dehydrated and you don't feel like ill. You just feel like so drained. but in a refreshing sort of way. It's like you needed to just have all of that release. You needed to have all of that thing, whatever, just you needed to have that experience. And it left you just ritually like it's recharged in a way, like you just man, and then it takes a couple of days to recharge and everything. What's up, Wyatt Coverdale? Did I miss much? Says he. Much is a relative term, says I. So we just talked about the origins of Walpurgisnacht, Walpurgisnight, and how it's not a heathen holiday, at least not so much as I've been able to ascertain. But Wyatt, my good friend, good to see you, by the way. Let me just repost the link, for anybody that's just joining, maybe missed it earlier. That is experiences what brought you to the pagan path. Horvis Thorhild, new person here. I've not seen you before. So hail and welcome. Want to acknowledge and say hello. Anybody else too who's still watching and hasn't commented yet or hasn't engaged yet, please say hi. Don't be shy. And if you don't want to say hi and you don't want to engage, that's cool. But if you could, just please give that like button a smash, right? Smash that like button. Send it to Asgard, bro. But yeah, Sigerbloat was probably one of the most, no, yes. Probably was. I said no, and then I said yes because I was trying to think of any other profound experience. Probably one of the most profound ritual experiences that I've ever had in my life. Focused on Odin, focused on the ecstasy, the ecstatic, the madness, the whole just, altered state of mind sort of thing. Wonderful, wonderful ritual night that lasted hours, man, hours. We grilled out, had meat, mead, scotch, other such sundry items as to aid and abet such ritualistic needs. Fantastic experience, wonderful experience. Strongest reaction you've ever got? Really buttering me up here, aren't you? Man, look, it's like I appreciate everybody. I really do. I appreciate every single person. If I could high five you, well, it's COVID times, right? So we got to, do the whole elbow, fist bump, whatever. But seriously, high five, long distance high five, everybody out there, man. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, the views, the likes, the comments, just being here. I want you guys to be excited about being here as much as I am excited about you being here. Because, it's a Friday night, Saturday afternoon for some of you across the world. Yeah, Alex, I look talking about Heilung, right? Because Patrick could be the poster boy for Heilung, and I don't mean that in any sort of like negative way, bro. But you, my dude, you are like that's your thing, man, and I love it. I freaking love it. So, yeah, you really could. You could be like the poster child, the poster boy for Highland. And I'm jealous of the fact, like every time he shares a post, a picture or something of when he was at that show, I think it was in Chicago, right? I was like, I should have went there because I was thinking about it, and that was my problem. I thought about it. And I didn't just buy the ticket and figure it out later on. I'm like, well, what if I'm doing this? Or what if I'm doing that? Or what if I'm, bleh. There's no what ifs with Heilung, dude. You just do. You just go. You buy that ticket. You figure out logistics later on, but you buy the damn ticket. You know what I'm saying? This is closest I get to ecstatic religions, rituals, just crazy awkward. Well, Alex, man, like, aren't we all? I mean, not to make light of anybody's life or situation, but aren't we all just a bit crazy? I mean, I know I am at least a little bit. Um, let's see here. Well, it says Wyatt. It says probably going to sound really pompous for this, but I think I'm starting to question if Odin is really who he says he is. Um, Giving me some good advice from time to time, but he isn't really the smartest guy, is he? um, well, so the complexities of Odin are great and deep. So what Odin says he is also not. You read through the names that Odin calls himself and names that we just have documented in the lore. Um, you know, he's a walking contradiction. He's he's very complex, and it's really an interesting thing to me to think that when people come into heathenry, right, brand new folks that are interested in this level of paganism, or not this level, but this particular path of paganism, when we talk about the gods and goddesses, one of the first ones that always comes up in people's minds and in people's conversations, the first name that comes out is Odin, Woden, Wodenaz, Wotan. Like, do you even understand or even know he's more than just the all father, you know what I mean? He's more than just Grimir. He's more than just Gangleri. He's more than just Sigurðardr. He's more than just, you know what I mean? Like, he's so many things all in one, and every one almost seems to, like, in a way, undo the other, wise and mad, you know, um, god of war and death and war poets, poetry, um, magic and just so many different things that Odin gets associated with that makes sense to me why he's considered the all father, like, just so many things. He's diabolical. Like, a lot of people that come into heathenry new like to blame their misfortunes on Loki. um, you're probably, like, first of all, blaming the gods on misfortune or trying to pass off your luck, as whatever it might be, as due to any sort of influence from the gods, is a bit, that's pretty new thinky. That's pretty neo-pagan. That's new thinking. um I don't you know I don't think the gods really have many major interest or care in an individual's life, unless you're like a great hero of sorts. The gods interact with us at the tribal level, is what I believe. Um, but you know, to think that you can blame or should blame the gods for anything, if you were to blame any of the gods, chances are Odin's probably to blame for it, not Loki. If something happens, because he's a madman. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. And I bear his mark. Like, it's not a slight to him. Old One Eye is just a crazy guy. The old man is you know he's something. But it is great to see you, Patrick. Thank you for sticking around. It's an honor to have you here as always. So thank you so much. You'd assume that, so reading your comments there, Wyatt. You'd assume that since he's all knowing and all wise, have a lot more to tell. Well, the thing about it is, all knowing and all wise, even he consulted the Volva. you know, Wolfspa. Even he consults the witch, you know what I mean? The seeress, the even he wants to learn the ways of Sather. You read about in the lore. So it's to satisfy his own needs in a lot of ways. He's trying to avoid the inevitable when you read about, you know, read things, read the lore, you know, kind of get the theme behind it all. Um, good evening to you too, Frizen. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Um, Gotta be crazy to survive this life. You said it, Patrick. Take care. Um, Odin has met his match with more clever beings. You know, that's just, you know, look, like the stories that we read from, the lore that we get from, you know, these were written centuries ago, you know, millennia or more ago. We evolve as humans, as mankind. You know, I think the gods, as being superior to us, don't as well, and that there's a constant change needing to take place. That's what to me is Ragnarok is. That's why there's not just one Ragnarok, there's multiple. The concept of Ragnarok is cyclic, and therefore it's always happening, it's always occurring, it's always, you know, it's always happening. Um, and so the desire to one up yourself, or to one up the next thing, uh, sure. I mean, it's that's why I think it's so also so important for us to develop stories, traditions. We live in saga times. You know, Eric Shervin has said it multiple times before. I echo the same sentiment. You know, we live in saga times, guys and gals. This stuff that's going on in the world today and in our generation, these are the things that stories, you know, these are the things that sagas are made of. And you and I are living through it. You and I are living in this time of sagas. You know, we're in it. We're in it to win it. You know, no doubt about it. Get a refill. Going strong. Um, well, then is also not here just to provide constant wisdom. Thank you. You know what I mean? That's a great point. He's not, you know, he ain't your Encyclopedia Britannica. He ain't your Google search engine. But see, this is the I think this is the kind of thing that you run into. This is the kind of problem you run into when you rely, not saying that you are or not, but this is the kind of challenge you run into when one relies or looks too much, relies too heavily, looks too much to the gods. What do we have around us? Who do we have around us? We have our folk, we have our ancestors, we have the whites or the Vatir of the land and the home around us. These are all spiritual beings, saying the folk that still live now, but like our ancestors, the Vatir, the you know, that sort of thing. These are all spiritual entities. These are all spiritual forces that exist in and around us, that exist in profane space. Start talking about the gods and the goddesses. You know, these are sacred. They exist and operate in sacred space and time. We don't operate in sacred space and time, not on a regular basis. Certain people may be able to experience that through Sather, through certain you know, the trance-like states, the save work, you know, that sort of stuff to get into those areas. But it's not a constant thing. We don't live in it. you may be able to experience it here or there, but it's not we don't live there. The gods do. How the gods interact, how the gods exist. They got their own stuff to worry about. What we should be doing, I feel, more so as heathens, specifically. Again, all are welcome. Different people come along from different paths. But to me, when it comes to this particular path in the heathenry, is that we are our deeds first and foremost. Like, we are our deeds. What we do now is added to the well that gets inherited later on by our descendants when we become the ancestors. But those ancestors that came before us, that left that stuff in the well for us to pick up from and take with us, right? That is those are the figures, those are the beings, those are the ones that we should be tapping into. Those are the sources that we should be tapping into, not so much the gods, not Odin this, Thor that. Yeah, certain times of the year, certain events, certain things that happen, yes, the gods are a part of it. Like, again, Sigurd, right? Big huge thing, big huge event for our tribe, right? We had the gods there. Thor literally was there. Like, we were just sitting there talking, and next thing you know, whoa, here comes Thor rolling through. That was because the tribe did things to ring a bell, light a beacon, call the gods down to us, made our presences known, made our intentions known, gave gifts. Lots of very pointed efforts, pointed things. It wasn't just one person saying "Hail Odin" in the middle of the woods. Not to say that that's not going to draw their attention or draw the god's attention or whatever. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but think of it this way: you throw a pebble in the ocean, and there's no real effect. The waves are already going on. You're not going to notice a pebble falling into the ocean. You throw a meteor crashes or whatever, it's gonna make impact. It's gonna impact that a whole lot bigger. So the way I see it is like, say, on a smaller scale, you're looking at a pond, you throw a pebble, small ripple effect. You go a huge boulder, a bunch of rocks and things, it creates a much more resounding response. Didn't want to blow up my feed, sent me an email. Well, thank you, Burke. I will check it out. Definitely appreciate. I saw it. I just checked my phone. I saw it. So yes, I will check it out. And I thank you for that. I thank you for taking the extra time to share some information, because that's what this is about. You know what I mean? I don't do these things, and I don't get on here to, well, this is the way you are the heathen. Okay? And if you're not heathening this way, you just need to go on somewhere. No, it ain't about that. Right? It's we're learning. I'm learning. So what we learn, what we apply is it's everybody contributes. Everybody shares things. So thank you for that. Burke Hobbin. Been studying this sort of thing for nearly 4 years. The more you learn, the less I see Odin as a wise being. You'll learn as you get older, Wyatt. Knowledge and wisdom are not the same thing, right? You'll learn that as you get older. See him as a silly old man. I mean, he's definitely silly at times. Read what is it? What's the name of the Eddic poem where he's constantly insulting his son? Harbut's the Oath. Yeah, that's silly, right? It reminds me. Look, if I were to, you guys ever read or ever watched that Saturday Night Live skit where Will Ferrell is Alex Trebek, and then you got Sean Connery. That's what I said to your mother last night. Like, that's Odin, and Alex Trebek, as played by Will Ferrell, is Thor in Harbut's Harbudsdooth. Like that's the like Thor's just sitting there like say one more word, you know, and Odin's over here like Sean Connery, like just constantly just like not letting up, you know. So silly is an understatement uh for Odin. Um Maniacal is a nice way that I like to maniacal is the word that I like to use quite often when describing the old man. He's diabolical and he's maniacal. Um, yeah. Thanks for reading the document he sent you. Needed to get that out of the cool. Yeah. Chosen the path of wisdom over the path of happiness. Yep. Well, good. You only, you know, wisdom over happiness. You got your whole life to obtain wisdom. Figure out what makes you happy because you got your whole life ahead of you, you know? Alex says Odin is silly the way that everyone I know who's of German descent is would totally laugh if you tripped and fell on your face. Yeah. Uh, guilty as charged. I have a very dark sense of humor. Um, I can find the humor in almost anything, regardless of how dark the humor may go. Certain things are definitely off limits. But even so, like there's plenty of people that are like, oh, could you possibly say that? Oh, oh, oh boy. Oh, you say such a thing. And I'm over here going, ha ha ha, you know, like that's funny. It's comedy. Comedy is meant to be uh there's a triggering element to like, you know, there's a shock factor to it. Like, come on, like why you gotta be so sensitive? I don't know if that's the German in me, the Germanic ancestry, you know, the lineage in me, if that's my Germanic descent, or if it's the fact that I'm from New York. Because my wife, so many times when we're, you know, talking about things and I deliver my pitch or deliver the angle that I'm coming from on it, her response is, "You're such an a-hole, right? Like you're such a jerk sometimes. Like, well, you got to be so." It's that she said that damn Yankee, that damn Northerner. You know, you that Northerner is coming out in you. I don't know. It's something. It is definitely something. You know, sarcasm is a way of life. Yeah. Hey, oh, glad to hear you. Glad to hear you acknowledge your own self there, Wyatt. And that's good. Self identity is important. You know what you are. Know who you are. Don't be delusional, right? We've all been there. Um, and some of us longer ago than others. Um, but there's a lot left ahead, boy. There's a lot left ahead. Geez, when I was your age, Wyatt, I was sloshing around buckets of grain, buckets of water. I could almost barely carry buckets of water without them spilling over into my boots, and you know, slinging over bales of hay into pickup trucks and onto into barns and things like that, and getting up at 5 in the morning to go muck stalls. Dingo Lightfoot, hail and welcome with the oi in the live chat. Um, but man, those years that I was doing all that, boy, I tell you, um, it definitely forged me into the human being that I am today. What's up with you, Dingo? It's good to see you, man. Um, Married into a German American family while being Southern yourself. Well, Alex, I married into a Southern family. Um, my wife is from Tennessee, born and raised, and I am a Northerner. I am from New York. And sometimes, depending on a couple of things, depending on how much alcohol I have in me, and depending on how you know emotional the situation is, the New Yorker comes out more heavily. So because of my accent, because of the tone of my voice, because of just how I talk sometimes, it comes across as like you're just being a jerk, you're being an a-hole. So I don't take offense. I don't, that's just kind of how we are, um, by the definition. Um, I married up. Yeah, I married up. I tell you, I didn't get married until I moved to the South. Actually, I married up north, but I married a Southerner. Um, and this is my third and final marriage. Not proud to say that there were others. Um, Things happen, life choices, live and learn. But that's the important part, is to learn. You can live and continue to make the same mistakes, the same ridiculous choices in your life. If you're not learning, then you're just aimlessly wandering about, not making anything of yourself. So the Egyptians and Thoth worked with him very little, understand this sort of feeling. Hmm. Well, I am not the leading authority, not by any means. I'm not even. I've never dabbled into the Egyptian pantheon and stuff of that nature. My Gothi has, though, um, and he is phenomenal. He would have a lot to say about that, about the whole Thoth Odin um, comparison or similarities. And so I'm actually gonna do a thing because I want him to know. Um, but he's a good guy. Hims is a good guy. Realism is what you need. Ain't nobody got time for BS, right? Nobody's got time for uh fake. I don't. I'm like, you know what? I ain't got time for it if you're gonna be fake. And that's the other thing too, right? Like with this whole platform, I think a lot of folks come out onto like YouTube and social media and they project a certain aura, they project a certain image that separates who they are from who they want to be seen as, or who they want to be themselves. And I get that. Like, I get that depending on what you're doing. But I've tried to stay, very sincere and very true and very real out here. If I was sitting in a room with a fire in front of us and we were all talking, this is what you see is what you get. And I believe that level of sincerity, I believe that sincerity and truth and honesty go a long way in life. You may not get far quickly, but it's a marathon, not a race. You know, you got to stick through it for the long haul. Otherwise, you get burnt out too quick. Dingo's Dingo Lightfoot been practicing for 5 years and haven't found a realistic fellow heathen. I mean, they're out there. They're out there somewhere. Um, on the Isle of Man, when bushes were burnt on May 1st. Huh, interesting. I was reading your comment there, Heathen Coalition. Very cool. Oh, is that kind of guy that would show you around the world? Thoth is the kind of guy that would teach you intricately how the world and universe is in the works. Yeah, my buddy Dingo, man, Dingo Lightfoot's in the chat, but my Gothi's name is Dingo, or he goes by Dingo. You ever in the live chat and you see Dingo Dingo? He moderates the chat sometimes. Um, he's my Gothi, and he was part of Sigerbloat. He's obviously part of the tribe, and that's Gothi, you know. But he was part of Sigerbloat, and like I said before, amazing, amazing ritual night that he was there present for. A lot of amazing things. So proud to have him as a friend, as a brother, and as my Gothi. Confet never knew why some like a heavy certain trauma with their heathenry. You know what? Right, Alex? I mean, I have unfollowed and left so many different heathen, quote unquote, heathen groups, pagan pages or whatever. Um, some people just take the entertainment factor. They over romanticize things. They take it to like another level, you know. Um, so I just like left that. I got rid of that. I got that. I had to get rid of it. I had to get it out of my life, out of my view of things. I'm like, it's not adding any value to me as an individual. I'm not learning anything, and my whole thing is to learn and to help educate and to, as I learn, share what I learn. Right. So I'm not like, hey guys, sit down. Like I said before, it's not like this is put your pencils down. You got timed class, this that or whatever. It's not like timed structured lessons, but we're learning. We're all learning, and I like the approach. I like that sort of approach. Works for me. Staying away from bossy know-it-alls. Yeah, right, Maria. There are, and that's the funny thing too is I'm actually in a group on Facebook that I've been in it for so long that I know the vibe and I know the kinds of folks that are there, the way they do it. But they come across like if you're a newcomer to heathenry, if you're a newbie, you join that group. Boy, you need some miles under the tires before you join that group because you will get chewed up, spit out, eaten alive, and nobody's going to think twice about it. Nobody's going to care. But it's a place of learning. It's a place of academia. It's a place of scholars. It's a place of reconstructionism. Um, so like, some people that don't read the group bylaws or rules or whatever, they'll join and start talking about like runes and stuff like that. And they've gotten a little bit better about it. I think the admins and stuff, they're like, you know what, we need to just stop not being such pricks about things. But they man, there was a time and it was just like if you said anything about the runes in a magical sense, boy, it was like piranhas, or that little drop of blood in the water, and the sharks just go crazy. That's what it was like there for a while. Azure, Phoenix, hail and welcome. Didn't see you there for a second. Sorry about that, but hail and welcome to the live Walpurgisnacht live stream. We did a conversation discussion earlier in the live stream. If you missed it, here is the link. You're welcome to check it out. This was all the information that I was talking about earlier in the live stream. You can catch up later on, but it's there. Um, so haven't missed too much. That's what you've missed. We've been live streaming now for the biggest part of an hour and a half. Do people really change their names? Yeah, they do. They go and they like try to quote unquote heathenize their names. Like, oh, my name's not John Anderson anymore. It's Ragnar Thorshammer, or freaking Odin Sigurdblood, or what I. It's an odd thing. Shamanistic aspects of the Norse, Dingo Lightfoot. Yeah, very fascinating. Very, very amazing. I agree. Um, let's see here. What did Burke say? I missed it. It's always amazing when people tell me their name is Ragnolf, right? Yeah, or something. I'm like, no, it's not. Get out of town. Come on, you yeah, you almost can't take someone seriously. Like I know somebody, but I know his real name. But he has a moniker, that he goes by, or a pen name, or whatever. Wolf the Red. Wolf Red Strongbeard, but Wolf the Red is who he's known by on YouTube, on Twitter. I think he's got a Discord server that he runs with like 1,000 some odd. Guy's phenomenal. We've collaborated here. He's been a part of these live. He's been a part of live streams. Or he's collaborated with me before. He actually just surpassed 4,000 subscribers after only being here on YouTube for a year. And I'm like, well, damn, dude, you must be doing something right, because I ain't there yet, and I've been doing this for 3 years. So props to you. But I actually know his name, so the moniker thing it's one thing if you're going to use a pen name, but you don't go around and be like, well, that's my name. No, it's not. YouTube just gave you the notification. Oh, okay. Well, it's interesting to know that though, Azure, because it's interesting to know that. I have nothing to do with that, but I figured that, well, notifications would go out when I do go live. But apparently YouTube still thinks that, hey, you know what? Let's just shoot this thing out here to a few more people. You never know who's hanging out middle of the day in New Zealand, or midnight, 11 o'clock midnight at night, you know? Your actual your actual surname is Lightfoot. Well, that's like when people ask me my surname, or what my last name is, and when I say it, they laugh for some reason. I'm like, I don't know why I don't know why it sounds funny to you, but it's my name. If you find it comical, then glad I could make you laugh. Understand why they're using on the phone online. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool though. Maybe cool is not the right word. I guess like the whole naming thing. Like there's a lot of power in naming. So if you're going to name something or name someone, or you know what I mean, like there's power in that. There's strength, and there's a lot of weight that can come with the naming process. Especially when it comes to like naming children, but also naming of items, naming of things, naming of places. We see this exist in places in Scandinavia where place names for the that carry the name of the gods that were venerated in that area. Thor being one of them, big one, right? I mean, there's places all over the Scandinavia that have Thor's name attached to it. So there's definitely power in it, which is why I find it curious why you would want to change that to something other than what was given to you, right? Because like that's literally something you've carried with you your whole life. It's what people know you as. you know, I don't know. I guess everybody has their own reasons, right? Everybody has their own purpose, why they do what they do. Azure got it, and actually, the spelling of that name is modern. Um, the old spelling of it was much different. The Dutch spelling of it was much different. Um, and that's what I tell people, you know, when they hear it said, and when they look at it, they go, is that what it's? I'm like, look, it's spelled a little different, but it's spelled, you know, if you want to spell it, you just sound it out. It's like a wagon sitting still. And then they lose their minds. I go like, still wagon. I said, so like a wagon sitting still. Like they just cackle and they lose their freaking minds when I say it. And I'm like, well, what's so funny about it? When I think about a wagon sitting still, I don't die from laughter. But hey, everybody finds comedy and levity in different things, you know? Don't personally like going by any name. Well, we'll just say, hey, you. Hey, you there. Or we can go the God of War, we can go the God of War Kratos route, you know? Boy, boy, sit down, boy. Quiet, boy. That, do that. Could be cool. When you start, when you start referring to people by their preferred pronouns, you know, 2021 for crying out loud. um, I'm with it. I'm about it. No hate. Participate. Don't hate. Participate. You know what I mean? So, anywho, what's everybody else up to? It is a Friday night. Just hit the top of the hour. Might have a pretty big live stream plan coming up here in a couple of weeks. What would you all say to that? And when I mean a couple of weeks, I mean a couple of weeks from today. Um, may want to plan on may want to block your weekend of May 14th out. You may want to put that on the calendar, right? That Midgard Musings is going to be streaming long and strong, and that's what she said. But uh, where yeah, it might be another one of those marathon runs. I don't remember what the longest Midgard Musings live stream to date. I want to say it's about 4 hours, a little over 4 hours. I'd have to look back through the archives. Um, so maybe we go for five, or maybe we just say time be damned, and then you know, just kind of roll with it. You know, maybe read some stuff from the lore, maybe burn some rune sets. You know, maybe do a giveaway. Never know. Never know what could happen here on these random. Well, that wouldn't be a random one. It would be a planned one. But this tonight was semi-planned. Like I didn't think that I was going to be doing this, but I'm like, it's this whole thing with the Walpurgisnacht and the Beltane and the Mayday and all that. Live stream. Let's talk about it. In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. That is a planned thing. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you've got bell notifications enabled for all, because when I plan it, when I do it, um, you know, it'll be announced here on the channel. Of course, it'll be announced on all of my other social media. So Facebook, Twitter. If you're not following me, following me there, if you're not following me there, and you are able to, please do so. But I try to share everything pertinent to He says, Alex says, Lord, giveaways, hail. All right. People have spoken. All right. We can make it happen. As they say with it, make it so. Number one, make it so. So we will make it so. I don't see why not. Um, but yeah, my wife is going out of town with a friend that weekend. So I feel it would be like a really awesome time to take advantage of just like what else are we gonna do on a Friday night or whatever. Well, let's stream all night. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Right? Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet already, by the way. Wyatt asked the question, have you ever been in any other form of paganism besides the Norse pantheon? Myself? No. At least not that I would count. Like I said, I was born and raised in a Christian uh, worldview of things, and I abandoned that to pretty much nothing. Like I really didn't have a structured religious view on things. Um, but as far as paganism goes, I went straight from the Christian worldview to pretty much I believed in something, but I wasn't sure what it was, so I kind of went atheist a bit there for a while. Is the best way I could describe it, and then found my way into Norse paganism. Thank you for setting up all notifications. Hello, Grizzle, Dingo Lightfoots. Can you make a video on the Landvatir? Gotcha. And how important, if not more important, they are than the gods. Sure. Yeah. Let me look through my catalog to see. I know I did a video not too long ago about the importance of interaction with our folk and interaction with the people in our community and stuff over the gods and how that strengthens weird, as it were, more so than trying to focus on the gods. I think I did one time about the Husvitir, but that's a great topic to talk about, Dingo. I really feel that the Lenvatir get overlooked a bit. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that. We do live with them, like you say. They share in our existence. They coexist. We coexist with them. And we actually have a lot of historical information that supports the fact that our Germanic and ancient ancestors recognized the importance of living harmoniously with them as well. The video, please make it on a Sunday. Yeah. I'm really bad about when my videos get released. I should have a structured, organized, planned schedule for when content gets released and when I go live, because I feel that that's going to only improve things. So for everybody that just catches these live streams and that has the notifications and that jumps on here, like Maria, Wyatt, Dingo, so many others, Matt from Odin's Beard, Alex, a lot of you folks, Azure, even, I've seen you a lot lately. I really appreciate the participation. But I feel bad. I'm like, I need to get more structured. I need to, it's tough sometimes though, with like my job and my lifestyle. It's just, I get a lot of responsibilities and a lot of obligations that outside of here. So it makes it a bit challenging sometimes, but for sure, I will definitely do my best to get it released or premiered on a Sunday. Hey, Troy Hartman, hail and welcome. Says hail and good health. Didn't know there was a stream tonight. Yeah, I didn't either really. A little over an hour and a half ago, I thought, well, let's talk about this Walpurgisnacht thing. Learned a lot. Hopefully everybody did. I got some information sent out to me from Mr. Burke Carbon, I believe it was, or Burke Carbon, Mr. Mrs. The Burke Carbon over here. So going to be checking that information out earlier, but yeah, that was I shared that out, and here's the link, Troy. If you missed it, I'm just going to post it in the live stream again. Um, House folk and the land folk are important, and with people fleeing urban areas, they're finding themselves landowners for the first time. Yeah, definitely establishing boundaries and establishing relationships with the forces, the whites, the spirits that coexist. Super, super important. Got done over by the the blasted autocorrect. Jeez. The land eights. I'm just reading, I'm reading your comment, Maria. I love the land eights. Yeah, me too. All eight of them. Really enjoyed the live stream. Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Sky Sullivan. Give my regards to Nightshade, by the way. Really want to get back into podcasting every week. If anybody that does subscribe to my podcast notice, there hasn't been one in the last week or so. Again, last week was my wedding anniversary, so the schedule got thrown off a bit, and then this week just had some family things to deal with my wife and I. Family over anything, hearth comes first. Let me just say that if you guys don't see anything coming out here on the channel on a regular basis, then it is largely due to the fact that I have hearth business to attend to. My home, my hearth. And that takes precedence over anything, right? Not YouTube, social media, work, hobbies, nothing comes before my hearth. So that is the reason why there was no podcast last week. But I'd love to get Nightshade back on a podcast. I've actually going to be changing up the format of my podcast a bit differently going forward. It's going to be part of the YouTube membership thing that I alluded to a bit earlier in the live stream. So I'm doing these sorts of things. These are enjoyable. These are educational for me. It's a bit therapeutic, actually. If you want to get right down to brass tacks, or iron nails, this is therapeutic for me. Getting to sit here and interact with folks across the world in this sort of way and talk about things in a wholesome manner. I love the fact that there's no animosity, and as things grow, as things expand, and as things build, the trolls will always make themselves known. But I'm confident in the community and in the presence of those here to regulate that those intrusion forces, those intrusive forces, as it were. So I really want to applaud everybody and thank everybody for really contributing to the wholesomeness of this experience, because it really does offer some really good things for me, and I hope it does for others as well, for those that participate and that join for however long. If you're here for the duration, if you pop in, you have to leave, you come back, in and out, that sort of thing. It's kind of like, to me, it's almost like a clubhouse, like where the members come in and they come and go as they please, but it's it's like an open door sort of policy or whatever, right? Thank you, Azure. Said happy anniversary. I appreciate that. Um, what's a subscription? How do we do that? So of course, subscribing to the channel is free. You just hit the subscribe button. You've already done that. The membership thing is something that's going to be forthcoming. I still have some information. I still have some things from YouTube that I'm trying to finalize. But basically, there's going to be different tiers of membership, kind of like how Patreon works in a way. But there will definitely be more details to come. So in order to catch all that, I would urge you to be sure, of course, you are subscribed, and then check the bell notification so that way you get notified of all things, whether I post a community update or whether I share a video or an update of sort of things when I go live. Make sure that you've got those bell notifications set to enable all notifications, because I should be hearing back from YouTube within some time over this weekend, and I want to get this membership thing rolling sometime next week. So there will be information forthcoming about that. I don't want to go into too much right now, but it's going to be kind of like a monthly subscription thing, minimal monetary contribution where you get exclusive things from the channel here. So there's more to come on that. Trust me. Yeah, I've got mods, Azure, at least usually the ones that are on live streams when I plan them, like my Gothi. My wife is also a mod. My Gothi's girlfriend. So when and as we need that sort of thing, when as the community grows and as the channel grows, and if we need more, of course we will add to the Midgard Musings army, as it were, the arsenal, as it were. Bert, thanks for the effort you put forth. Well, thank you, Bert. I mean, Burke, I'm learning. Like I said, I do this for me. My religion, my faith, what I do is for me, and then I'm learning. So I figured this is a great platform to use for sharing knowledge and sharing things that I'm learning, and engaging people. So I appreciate you. So thank you for being engaging and being a participant, not just a bystander. Content creators are met with an uphill battle, and I'm one of them, of getting content out there and getting it heard and getting it seen. So, interacting with the videos, liking, commenting, sharing, and all that may seem like a dumb thing, and you're going to hear it all the time that I say it. But just being real, like, it really does help. It helps get things out there. Could always get a channel. Let's see here. Nightshade would love it. Yes. Awesome. Glad to hear that. We call the gods is what we call them, and how you know them, but the landscape is bigger than the landscape is bigger than your fence. Absolutely. There's more out there. Having issues with Patreon, but would be more than happy to become a channel member. Cool, Troy. Yeah, definitely. I want to give everybody an opportunity to just be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's all pinned. I got the link tree thing that's pinned in the live chat. The link tree, it's in every description of my videos. There's merchandise that you can buy. There's the Patreon. There's monetary donations to the channel if you want to send them through PayPal. You've got this thing called Ko-Fi. Buy me a coffee. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can send a monetary donation. All that's cool. All that's great. But I'm not the one to just be like, hey guys, did you buy my stuff today? Did you become a member, become a patron, whatever? Like, I don't know. I don't beg. I don't pander for stuff. And this isn't a livelihood. You know what I mean? This isn't my career. At least not right now. I'm not trying to make it one. But I definitely appreciate the sentiment, Troy. So for those that, if you have had issues with Patreon before for whatever reason, then I am going to be offering something else here on the channel that gives you some exclusive content. You're going to be losing anything by not being a member. You're only going to gain more by becoming a member. So everybody that's watching, listening, whatever, you're going to not lose anything that's already here. You'll still get the live streams. You'll still get the videos. You'll still get the premieres. You'll just get some added perks for the membership stuff. So more details on that to come once YouTube finalizes some things. I should have actually already had it up, but I was a bit sluggish in getting some things done, and I ran into a hiccup along the way, a little technical issue. So I was talking to YouTube today. Yes, I talked to YouTube, right? I got on the phone. I was like, hey, yo, YouTube, it's your boy. Literally how it went down. No, but I talked to Chris, was his name, allegedly. And said, hey, I'm having this problem with setting this thing up. He goes, well, I'm going to have to actually take 24 to 48 hours to review some things. Can you give us some time? Sure. Okay, whatever. But yeah, it should be, like I said, if I had anything to do with it, it would have already been up and out. But hopefully it will be up and out this coming week. Let's see here. I think I may have missed some. YouTube at least puts things in my own currency. Patreon does not. Ah, interesting. Really, Maria, that's interesting. I know you're on I know you're a patron on Patreon. And I know some folks who are overseas, international for me, that are as well. I might have to check my settings, but I'm pretty sure that you're at the top tier level. So I appreciate that. No limitations. Build. Let's see here. Yeah, can only exert so much control over nature. Yeah. Here's the thing about the Landvitier. They kind of run the show. They may, your relationship with the Landvitier, because they exist outside of the inner yard, because that's their arena. You know what I mean? They're outside of that inner yard. So there are methods of land taking. The land taking ceremonies that you read about in like the Landnoma book. You can kind of claim state claim to land over the Vatir. But if it's an old place, if it hasn't had the the human element inserted for a while, it's gonna become overgrown, and they're gonna take over. So to reclaim ownership or authority over the land can sometimes prove to be challenging or difficult. Just depends on the land, really, it does. Azure says, when I make a rune set, do I do anything to make it personal to the client? Great question, Azure. So my rune sets that I make they're not necessarily personal to the client. I offer, so like the birch rune sets look and feel differently than the driftwood rune sets. So I have a style, I have an aesthetic that I use to make them unique to me that I haven't seen anywhere else, right? But in terms of personalizing them beyond that, I haven't had a request for such a thing. So, well, I take that back. I've had one tribe in the area request to have a rune set made, and then on the reverse side of each of the runes, they wanted their tribe's bind rune burned into it. So I redact my original statement saying that I haven't. That is definitely personal, because it's something specific to that tribe. So yes, I have then commissioned to make a rune set that was very specific and very unique for the client. They wanted their tribe's bind rune included in each rune set or each rune piece, each rune that I burned. So to that extent, yes. Yes, I have. Great question, by the way. Thank you. There's a spark of the divinity in all of us. Wonder if there's a belief. This is an interesting comment, Azure. I'm reading your comment. Do you wonder if there's the belief among the old ways that one could ascend to a deity? So that's an interesting concept. The you read about some of the some of the scholarly sources, not Tacitus, but Saxo Grammaticus. His retelling of the names of the gods. These were actual people, right? These were actual humans who did such great things that they sort of reached this level of godhood, this level of like you say, ascend to a deity status. How that applies now in modern times, I don't have an immediate answer for that, but I think you wondering that does exist. How old? The old ways, you go back, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because Saxo Grammaticus was a bit later on, but the concept does exist, at least. Would you make a set for, say, divinate? Let's see here. Lazarus says, would you make a set for, say, divination and do any ritual for the purpose, as in dedicate the runes for that purpose? So again, when I you know when I make a rune set, my thought and my intent is going into that rune set. What they are used for by the client, by the recipient, by the person receiving these runes, is their choice, and how they go about blessing them, sanctifying them, hallowing them, however, whatever you want to call it. I leave it up to them. I usually don't get too personal on that level of things, like if you were to say, oh, this rune set, can you, make a specific bind? Could you put a specific bind rune on each rune? That's probably the furthest of the extent that I would go as far as customizing or personalizing it. I don't do any other sort of sealing of the runes. They are all raw in their nature, right? I don't seal them. I don't coat them, because what I want people to get the runes themselves. How you preserve them, how you seal them. I feel that that's up to you as the recipient. So like for me, when I made a rune set for myself and for our tribe, I went through a certain ritualistic practice of it. I did certain things, and I imbibed certain elements into the rune set. And I made it very personal and very exclusive to our tribe. So I feel that level of stuff has to happen on a personal level. That's not something that I feel that I'm ever comfortable doing on the working end of it. There's already my life force. There's already my intent. There's already all of that. My hands are on it. My focus, everything is going into it already at that point. So there's enough of that. But everything beyond that, I feel is on the receiving end. Slow Crystal says, is runic divination historically accurate or proven? Yes and no. To the best of my knowledge, to the best of my understanding, the The closest thing that we have or that we know of runes being used for or being recognized for anything beyond just an alphabet is, I believe, in Egil's saga, Egil Skallagrimsson, who references having to undo a spell, having to undo something that somebody did because they painted runes wrong. They inscribed runes on bone or whatever they did it wrong, and they made someone sick. And this is a paraphrase. It's they messed up, and he had to go back in there and he had to undo it. And there was an admonition or a warning that you should not carve the runes unless you know them, or that sort of thing. And then we even hear about it in the Havamal. I think it's stanza 144. 144, 143, somewhere around there, where in the Runetal section of the Havamal, do you know how to paint them? Do you know how to send them? Do you know how to carve them? Do you know how to bless them? Do you know how to, all these things, asking, talking about the runes. Do you know all these things? Do you know how to do all these things with the runes? So the interesting thing about the runes to me, and I've worked with the runes and I'm a Vitki for our tribe. The interesting thing about the runes for me is that they're organic. They're, first of all, they're an alphabet. It's literally linguistics. Like they're phenoms. The runes mean something because they say something. The sound they make, the character they represent, that's what they mean. Like A is for apple, B is for boy, C is for cat, D is for dog, that sort of thing. Like, but there's power in that. There's magic in that in itself, because again, we go back to the naming of things, the recognition that there's power in naming. So when you say these things, when you galder them, when you speak them, they carry with it a certain level of power, certain weight in my mind. But in terms of like divination, divinatory work, the what we use nowadays in terms of like rune castings, rune readings, very, very modern in its design. If it did exist at any point in ancient times, it wasn't documented. But again, the rune poems that exist, Norwegian rune poems, the Anglo-Saxon rune poem, they have made it into those rune poems have been incorporated into runic studies for divination, for magical purposes. In terms of historically done, we know for sure that there's nothing documented about it that they were. Can it be argued that at some point they may have been, based on like some of the sagas? Yeah, probably. But like even if you look at like the rune stones in Sweden and other places in Scandinavia, right? A lot of them were just like, so and so was here, so and so died, so and so was great, so and so did this. It wasn't like a magical spell inscribed into the side of a mountain or a rock or whatever. Now, I have personally created bind runes and worked in runic magic, and the results. This is all UPG now. Fair warning. It's all UPG, but the results have been beneficial. The formulating of bind runes and such. You're right, Burke. There are several references in Roman sources. We're talking like Tacitus, I believe, about Germanic armies relying on the councils of lots being drawn by Cyrus's. Yeah, yeah. Now again, secondhand approach or secondhand. I'm always like I'm always a little bit like, I want to say leery, but when you talk about like Tacitus and stuff, like Tacitus didn't see it. He wrote about stuff that other people saw. You do have like some sources like Ibn Fadlan, who witnessed things, who was there, who saw things being done. Like wrote it all down. I was there. I saw him do this thing, that, or the other. Um, Tacitus is kind of like a hearsay kind of thing. Not to take away from it, but you gotta keep that in mind. You gotta bear that in mind too when you study and learn that sort of stuff. That Tacitus wasn't necessarily the first eyewitness to it all. He just was, in the area, and the other Roman legions at the time that saw it because of being in the area as well were like, "Hey, bro, did you see that?" He's like, "No, what did you see?" And they go, "Well, this thing, that, and the other happened." He goes, "Hold on, let me write that down," you know, or something like that. Um, the Bergen letters. Okay, Bergen, Norway. Gotcha. All right, we'll check it out. Appreciate that. What is my opinion on Sather? If you're asking my opinion, um, I definitely think it has a place in living heathenry. One of my most recent videos was with Ivy Mulligan, who more or less leads, I think that's an accurate representation, leads the Guild of Fornsaith. And she's, got decades of Saith work and that sort of thing under her belt, rune magic, rune work. Really solid person too, by the way. Wonderful guest here on the channel. Really enjoyed her presence here. So yeah, what do I think of it? I think it's a applicable element in modern heathenry or in living heathenry today. I think it definitely has its place. I don't think that anybody should just go at it all willy-nilly. I will say that. I don't think that you just, oh, I'm a heathen now. Let me, get into Sade work. I believe that's got a special place and for special people. Hey there, Crow. Caw. Glad to see you here as well. I'm glad that you could join. Been streaming now live for just about 2 hours. Probably going to be wrapping it up here soon. But yeah, man, we're getting into some really cool stuff here. Yeah, everyone's opinion, my opinion, everyone chime in. What do you guys think about Sather? Pretty broad question, but I definitely feel like it has its place, and it has a place in heathenry for sure. Postadinus also describes Germanic seeresses using lots in conjunction with human sacrifice to predict the outcome of battle. Yeah, you got to think about it too. You got to think about the culture at the time. And what was going on in society, in the world. A lot of battles. The war band cult was a thing. I feel, but it was an occupation. You know what I mean? Uh, but it was also like it was like I guess it was a seasonal occupation. Like you weren't like, I'm a warrior 24/7. You were probably a farmer or a farrier or a blacksmith or seamstress, or you made things or whatever to trade and this and that, and you had skills and you did things to keep yourselves alive. And then raiding season came around, the time of year that we're in now, right? That's what Sigerblood was about. Victory. Victory over things, victory in the coming raidings, the raids that would come, the victory in battle, victory in war. Definitely a thing. Starting to work with the runes that you won, and it's going really well. Yeah, Maria, you actually did. You won a rune set on the 3-year anniversary live stream here on the channel last month. And the rune set that you won was from the Fjellvetur workshop. J.M. Olafson over there in North Carolina here in the United States makes fantastic rune sets. Seems divinatory readings are closely related to tarot, as far as you understand. Yeah, there. I mean, look, there's a lot of similarities to it. For any of my patrons that are watching, I know Maria is one of them. Part of your top tier patron benefit is to get a monthly rune draw from yours truly. And I've done castings. I've done whole rune castings, and I do a little. I don't know of any. I mean, like I learned rune castings from some people, but I also developed my own style, my own method of it, which I feel is an important element into Vitki work. Into becoming a Vitki is, you don't just read a book and determine, well, I'm a Vitki now because I finished this book, or I studied under so and so, and I'm a Vitki. It's, the runes are personal in a way, at least so much as I found. Um, and long distance castings don't necessarily work so much. The larger, like the castings where you're using all the runes and you're reading the runes, but like there has to be this exchange, this exchange of weird between you and the person or the persons whom you are casting for. And so, um, I've done those castings at like pagan pride events that I've been at. I've done them at other uh, social events, and I've done them here in my own hearth with friends and family. That the people have been here. They've been like literally, within arm's reach of me, and there's been an exceptional purpose or reason, specific purpose or reason. The idea of a monthly rune draw, rune cast, gives some insight or some thought for the recipient. Thank you, Maria. Glad that you like them. And hail and welcome to William Colmer, Bill Colmer. Says, hey man, I've been following the faith for several years, but struggle with atheism. You have any tips on how to deepen the faith and belief? Glad you asked the question, William Colmer. Hail and thanks for joining. Um, Troy, Spartans, what is your occupation? Oh, right. But William Colmer, to answer your question, I can relate because I mentioned earlier, maybe before you joined the live stream, that I came from a Christian background, but I didn't go from Christianity straight into heathenry. There was this gap where I was kind of in this atheist thing. I knew there was something, but I'm like, whatever it is, I don't really care. It's not worth my time. I was mad. I was, young. I was just not into religion of any sort. So to acknowledge your question, William Colmer, any tips on how to deepen faith and belief? Your faith is your own. Your path is your own. If you can't find a way, then you have to make a way. This is a sort of nod to something I've heard on another really good YouTube channel, Ocean Keltoy, who's kind of like catchphrase or whatever is find a way or make one. So credit to Ocean Keltoy for that. But yeah, you gotta be a part of. You gotta find a way, or you gotta make your own way, and that's largely what paganism is. But Germanic heathenry is so. I found it to be at its crux and at its roots to be tribal. So when it comes to strengthening your beliefs or strengthening faith, is to really go at it at the grassroots level and look for or develop a community in or around your area. Talk to like-minded people. Tie weird with like-minded people. Develop relationships. excuse me, with like-minded people. And that, I feel, is going to really help strengthen the faith that you have, the belief that you have. If you had any questions or wondering us about things, having other like-minded people a part of your circle is definitely going to help kind of rekindle those embers. If there's not people in your area, which I've, you know, some places are so remote or some places are so disconnected from heathenry or from any sort of paganism beliefs that they're like, well, there's nobody else around here in my area. You'd be surprised, right? Social media has an amazing reach. And if you can't find something in your area, then make something in your area. Kind of what we did here in Middle Tennessee. There's a lot of pagans in our area. And this is also going to touch a bit on Flo Grizzle's question on any tips on locating kindreds. Utilize social media. Don't be discouraged if you're not going to find a group that, hits every nail on the head. Because I didn't find anything that hit every nail on the head for me personally, or for the group that I was trying to find my way into. But there are great people in the area, and we collaborate. We share ideas. It's kind of like intertribal relations. So because there wasn't anything set in the area, I made something in the area, like Middle Tennessee Heathens. Like, it's a group that we made and created for that said purpose. So you can't find a way, make a way. That's my suggestion, and I'll read through the comments here now. So how do you read runes? That's a video you'd love to see, just to understand better Azure. That's so how I read runes. How to make a video on how to read runes. That's an interesting one, and I don't know if a video is going to be able to satisfy that ask, because the process of reading runes takes time to learn. First of all, you should know what the runes individually mean, right? What they individually represent. And then there's different runes, you know what I mean? I personally use the Elder Futhark for rune casting. Some may want to use Anglo-Saxon runes. Some may want to use Younger Futhark. Others may want to use medieval runes. I don't know. The majority of the popular set of runes to use is the Elder Futhark. We just have so much about them written down. But how runes are read collectively depends on the situation, because each rune means something in itself, but combined and cast out. What I've seen happen quite often is when runes are cast, sometimes the casting makes a rune in and of itself, and that is impactful. That is something to be considered in the reading of the runes. Right? It's not just what runes you read and what pattern they're in, but I have a method, I have a way that about it that I go, and it's probably a little bit different than everybody else or others. As long as you're not reading anything from what's his name, Bloom. Don't read anything last name Bloom, Robert, Russell, Richard, Radatosker. I don't know, whatever. What is it? Bloom, last name Bloom. Don't read anything from him. You see it, throw it away. But anything else, go ahead and give it a whirl. As Kevin McAllister said in Home Alone, I'll give it a whirl. Alex says rune live stream. Maybe that's Maybe that's something that we do a bit on the marathon live stream coming up in a couple weeks. Never know. Um, Edred Thorson, aka Stephen Flowers, hit and miss. The early stuff, not so bad. Very, very Wiccan, pagan, neo-pagan approach. Yeah, Ralph Bloom. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Sky and Troy. Yeah. Wow. No disrespect to anybody named Ralph, except for you, Ralph Bloom. The hell kind of name is Ralph? Ralph isn't a name. Ralph is the sound you make when you eat curdled cheese. Ralph is a sound that you make when you binge drunk Fireball in your 20s during college, and then you smell cinnamon 15 years later because Karen is chewing big red gum. Ralph is is the sound that you make when you ingest that. It's not a name. It's a sound. Again, no disrespect to anybody out here named Ralph, unless your name's Ralph Bloom. Um, Revival of the Runes, great material. Uh, yeah, PhD in runology. The again, he's got all the credentials. Some of his connections, some of his the direction and way that he goes is very new agey kind of a thing. But again, hey, read it, learn it, study, apply, see what fits. You never know, right? You never know if it fits, if the hat fits, if the shoe fits, if the trousers fit, if it fits, wear it. Um, let's see here. The juror says another question. Now that I know that UPG doesn't mean your personal groove, um, asking is why there seems to be such disdain for personal experience. Um, so I think, so far as I've seen at least, is that the biggest qualm that people have with UPG, unverified personal gnosis, is that some folks want to pass UPG off as fact. And they don't preface anything. They don't preface they don't preface it by saying, hey, this is just this, my experience. This is my UPG or SPG. Um, not fact, not verified by any sort of sources. And they'll just be like, well, because this is the way, this is the way I experienced this, had to have been the way it was experienced. People that I've seen have qualms about UPG or like, if you just give a disclaimer that it's UPG, just make that disclaimer. Just put it out there. That way people don't come into it thinking, well, because so and so said it, it must be the way it was, or that because it's UPG, it was fact or it's fact. I've mentioned at least once before, I think that some of what we have now that is fact or that is considered primary sources or at least secondary sources was at one time UPG. So I don't discount personally, I don't discount or discredit UPG. I don't discredit personal experiences because who am I or who is anybody else to say that, well, what you experience is baloney, you know? So I think the disdain that you're talking about for UPG just really stems from the fact that some folks don't uh, they don't disclaim ahead of time that it's exactly that. It's UPG. In my personal experience, yeah, and then go on to tell you why people are wrong. Exactly, right? Like what Maria is saying. Well, if you're going to start a conversation by saying, "Well, in my personal experience," and then try to tell somebody else that they're wrong for not, sharing the same views or the same experience as you, that's you're contradicting yourself. In my personal experience, heads up, guys, this is UPG. This is in my personal experience. What you may experience is something totally different. I've always tried to be that way with um, what we talk about here, at least on this platform, is that if I'm gonna say something is a certain way, then there's gonna be something to back it up. If I'm gonna share a personal experience or I'm gonna share what my experiences are, then it's gonna be, hey guys, this is UPG. Eric Shervin over on the Ravens call, he does the same thing. Hey guys, UPG warning here. Middle of the road kind of heathen, not UPG or not hardcore recon, but also not neo pagan fluffy bunny. A lot of his stuff does come from a UPG perspective, but he disclaims it in front. You know what I mean? He's not the historical recon type, so that's fine. Just leave it at that, and make sure that that's where as far as it goes. And if that's all it is, then that's where it stays. People can learn from that though. People can take it, be like, huh, it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting perspective. How it can be incorporated into my own beliefs. But yeah, good point there, Maria. Thanks for bringing that up. Um, but wow, I said almost an hour ago, quite literally an hour ago, that I was like, it's about time. I think probably going to wrap this up. And then now here we are, just clamoring on about runes and Galder and Sather and UPG and all the kinds of cool stuff. Been really fun. Been an awesome time. I've had a great time, but it is that time. So I do want to thank everybody for sticking around, being here, um, contributing to the channel in whatever way. The super chat donations are appreciated. They are not required, but for everybody that does incorporate that into your repertoire while you're here, thank you so much. Be sure to check out the Linktree link that's pinned to the live chat. Be sure to check the description area of the video for all the ways that you can support Midgard Musings. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you have the bell notifications enabled, because again, with the membership thing that I'm working on getting finalized, hopefully that will be out in this coming week. So it is just about the top of the hour here for me in the United States, going into the next day. So for many of you, it is already the next day, perhaps, at least for one of you. Maria is here in New Zealand, and it is already May 1st. But here for me, we've got 5 minutes to go before the 1st of May. And for others on the East Coast, it is already past that. So just cheers, skull, hail, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight on this bit of a random impromptu live stream. And thank you for sticking with me and asking some really awesome, really great questions. Thank you, Chloe, Grizzle. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, the Heathen Coalition. Really appreciate your insights. Thank you, Wyatt Coverdale, Azure Phoenix, Sky Sullivan, Hale, Maria Fury, Burke, Hardin, William, Homer, everybody, just everybody. Big, huge, back at you. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Be sure to stay safe out there. And Until we talk again, may you all stay safe. May your hearth fires continue to burn bright and be healthy. And until next time, thank you so much.